What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Saleh, and welcome to AdoramaXP. Y'all, we are almost at the end of the year. 2022 has flown by. We actually started this channel in 2022, and we're almost a year old in a couple months. So thank you all for following, liking, commenting. You have helped this channel so much, and you've helped it grow. And let's keep at it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and it'd be great if we hit that at the end of the year. If not, hopefully sometime in the beginning of next year. So 2022 is almost over. We've had tons of games get delayed into 2023 and beyond. So 2022 was a bit of a learning growth year, if you will, because a lot of the games that we were excited for that we thought were coming out were kind of pushed back. And so 2023, all the games that were pushed back are now going to be released. It's insane. There's over, I think, 50 games that have already been announced that are releasing either on a specific date or around a range, either the fall or the winter or the summer of 2023. So it's going to be a madhouse of games next year, and I cannot wait. I don't even know if I have enough time for this. Does anybody have enough time for this? Luckily, we got Game Pass, so that's going to help me curb that wallet a little bit. So we're going to talk about the most anticipated games coming out in 2023. It's going to be a two-parter because there's so many of them. First part, which is going to be this one, is going to talk about specific games where we actually know the release date. And the next part will be games where we don't know the release date, but we anticipate them coming out in 2023 as long as they don't get delayed. Well, let's get right into it. Let's begin in January, starting with Forspoken, releasing January 24th. The developer is Luminous Productions. Now, the demo is out right now on PlayStation 5, and I've actually gotten to play the demo a little bit. Now, this game is very intricate and a little bit complex for my standards. There's a lot of elements going on with the L1 and the R1 buttons. They do different magical attacks and defense. It's an action-adventure RPG. You play as Frey, a New Yorker transported to the land of 𝔸𝔸𝕆ℝ𝔸𝕄𝔸. You have magical abilities, and you're trying to find your way back home. The game's all about exploration, world building, and magical combat, and there's a ton of magical combat. Now, if you do play the demo, I recommend performance mode over quality mode. Quality mode brings it down to 30 FPS, and it actually even goes under that because there's just so much happening on the screen with all those magical attacks and magical abilities and enemies on the screen. As I was moving around and parkouring around the world, I felt my movement wasn't fast enough. Granted, it was a demo. I don't know how high of a level I am, but it seems to put you kind of in the middle of the game or past the beginning where you've leveled up a bit. And two, I just felt like the world didn't have a lot going on. It was a lot of open areas and a lot of open world rather than exploration and finding exciting things like a Skyrim game, for example. So we'll see what happens when that game comes out. The demo didn't really pique my interest, but definitely play the demo to see what you think because you might have a different opinion than me. Dead Space Remake coming out January 27th, developed by Motive Studio. It's bringing the beloved Dead Space back to life, rebuilt completely from the ground up. Sci-fi survival horror. Now, if you know this game, you know the game. If you don't, well, you're not going to want to miss it. It's one of the most popular horror games in history, and it's coming back. And based on the gameplay that we've seen, it really seems like they've hit perfectly the musical numbers, the notes, and the silence of the game, like the scratching on the wall and just the eeriness of it. So everyone who's played Dead Space is definitely going to play this, and for those of you who haven't, you got to play it. Moving on to February, Hogwarts Legacy comes out February 10th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC, but they just announced that they're delaying the game for PS4 and Xbox One to April 4th, and they're delaying the Nintendo Switch version to July 25th. You get to create your own character and begin your journey through Hogwarts. This is set hundreds of years before the books, so you'll notice brand new teachers, a brand new story. You might recognize some ghosts in the castle. And this game is all about customization and making your wizard your own. You have tons of areas to explore in Hogwarts, tons of secrets, doors, and using your spell abilities. There's a parry system, there's a stealth system. There's also a crafting system, which I'm a little bit nervous about because it seems that when you craft in the game, it's going to take 24 minutes, 50 minutes, even a day, and I'm not sure if that's game time or real life time. So there's probably going to be a day-night cycle going on in that. But tons of new gameplay have released for it as well. I'm really looking forward to this one. Atomic Heart releases February 21st, developed by Mundfish, and this is their first non-VR video game. It's a first-person shooter based in a utopia world in Russia. You get killer robots and a very much BioShock-type DNA game. It's fast-paced and it's absolutely insane. You can actually see the damage you dealt to these robots, which is really cool. You have a combat glove and many weapons to choose from, and that combat glove, think of it as if it's like a BioShock magical ability. You can push, pull, you can use ice, you can use electricity, a bunch of different powers from it. You'll uncover secrets behind the utopia world and see what's hiding in the depths to uncover what this world actually is. It might look good on the outside, but underneath, it's filled with death, destruction, and corruption. This game looks incredible. And moving on to March, we have Wolong Fallen Dynasty releases on March 3rd, an action RPG from developer Team Ninja, and this game is going to remind you a lot like their previous game, Neo. Set in 184 AD during the Han Dynasty in China, the land is filled with chaos and destruction. Demons plague the lands. Master your sword, awaken your powers within, and rise in ranks to become a hero. You start off as an unknown, and you want to work your way up to become someone of some merit, and you're going to be fighting and probably dying a lot. Incredible character design and enemy design, and it looks like a beautiful game. Wow, we finally get to talk about this game. Hopefully it comes out. Skull and Bones, March 9th is the tentative release date. Developed by Ubisoft, this game has been delayed so many times, and it's finally, hopefully, coming out in 2023. A massive online action-adventure game where you are a pirate on the seas. You can play online with friends, or you can choose to play solo, though I would definitely choose to play with friends to capture as many ships as possible and to have some sea shanties. Who doesn't want sea shanties? It's the ultimate pirate fantasy game, and it's very reminiscent of Sea of Thieves, but I think just more realistic and less cartoony. Jedi Survivor, releasing on March 17th, developed by Respawn Entertainment, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order that took the Star Wars gaming world by storm. We're getting hilted lightsabers, dual wielding, and tag team finishers. This game looks way bigger than the first game, not only in exploration, but in new enemy types and world building. You can ride animals, you can fly with animals. If you loved the first game, this is a no-brainer. I'm really excited for this. We're going to see characters from the first game also in this, and I'm sure we'll see new ones too. Let's explore the Star Wars universe. Resident Evil 4 Remake, releasing on March 24th, developed by Capcom. Arguably the best Resident Evil game in franchise is now getting a remake, much like Resident Evil 2. The original RE4 was made in 2005. You play as Leon Kennedy, a survivor from Raccoon City, and he's sent to rescue the president's daughter in a small horror-filled village. The controls, thankfully, have been modernized, and the third-person camera is here to stay, which is my personal camera angle for Resident Evil. We're going to see all the crazy, awesome things that we saw in the first game, but things might be a little bit different in this remake. I cannot wait. This is the top Resident Evil games, and we're going to get a remake of it. Y'all, we're only in April. Dead Island 2 releasing on April 28th, developed by Deep Silver, the sequel to Dead Island 1, but you don't have to play them in any order. This is the third game in the Dead Island franchise. More dark humor, more gore, and it's set in Los Angeles, or they call Hell A. You can get incredibly creative with different weapons and environmental kills, plus there's a co-op mode for up to 3 players, which sounds much needed. I love a co-op mode, especially when it comes to zombie killing. Reminds me of Left 4 Dead. Bring my friends together and slay some zombies. It's gonna be May. Legend of Zelda, releasing on May 12th, developed by Nintendo, the sequel to the biggest Zelda game ever made. We're continuing the journey of an open-world Zelda game, but the addition to this one is we can now travel through the skies. There is an entire world built in the skies. Skydive and fly through the clouds. There's also seems to be a theme of time and the ability to alter it. More puzzles, a larger world. How can you go wrong? It's Zelda in the skies, in space. I mean, not really in space, but you get what I mean. And now we're in June, and this is where it gets insane, because now we have 3 to 4 AAA title games releasing in a 4-month span. But let's start with Diablo IV, June 6th, developed by Blizzard Entertainment, the next installment to the Diablo franchise. You go straight to hell and face off against Lilith. Now, what worries me in this game is that there's a battle pass. Why is there a battle pass for Diablo? I understand that they want to have an online element and you'll be able to see online friends and see online players, but when there's a battle pass, it gets me worried. Diablo Immortal was a big microtransaction mobile game, which makes sense because it's on the mobile. I'm not saying it's right to do, but mobile games tend to be more microtransaction based. But now when you take Diablo IV, a franchise, huge IP on console and PC, and if you make that heavy on microtransactions, or even any microtransactions at all, that scares me and that hurts me. So I really hope it's not about that. But there's tons of exploration in this. You now have a horse you can ride. You can see other people in the world. You can work together. I love Diablo, and I really hope Blizzard is not taking it down the microtransaction route like they have for a bunch of their previous games. Continuing in June is Final Fantasy XVI, releasing on June 22nd, developed by Square Enix. You're going to have massive summoner fights that will be happening in this game. Summons are a huge part, and it looks like we'll have a Godzilla-sized scale of fighting. Now, with any Final Fantasy game, you know characters always come first, so I cannot wait to dive deep in those character relations. The combat looks fast-paced, colorful, and epic. The art style and character designs are breathtaking. Cannot freaking wait. And to round out our list of actual release dates, August, Baldur's Gate 3, coming out sometime in August. We don't have a date yet, but we do know the month. It's developed by Larian Studios. Baldur's Gate 3 came out in early access in 2020. 3 years later, and the game will finally be released outside of early access. I am so amped for this. Larian Studios makes one of my favorite games of all time, Divinity Original Sin 2, and looks like they are bringing the love and magic to Baldur's Gate 3. Now, a lot of people have already played this, and they absolutely love it. I've been waiting for the actual release date, which comes out in August, to really sink my teeth into, but for all extensive purposes, Baldur's Gate 3 should be a banger. So that's part one of our most anticipated games of 2023. I cannot wait for Hogwarts Legacy, being able to create my own wizard and just run around Hogwarts. Jedi Survivor, the sequel. Atomic Heart looks awesome. If you're a big fan of horror games, Resident Evil 4, the remake. Dead Space, another one. So there's a lot of games for horror fans out there, and a lot of games for Souls fans out there that are coming out next year. And I'm hoping Marvel Spider-Man comes out next year because I would be so excited. We're actually going to talk about that in part 2 because that does not have a release date, but we anticipate that coming out in 2023. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your biggest anticipated game for next year is, what games you're currently playing, and be sure to check out our part 2, which comes out next week. Have a great holiday. Peace.